But oh, this is dedication. Here. All mothers and beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstacles who harm me, those who have because of my path to liberation and nations. May they experience happiness, be separate from suffering, the
All
self,
mothers and beings.
which them the still ones are past, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. All mothers and
Bodhisattva
beings,
being.
especially those enemies who hate me, obstacles who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and nations. May they experience happiness, be separate from suffering, and the save love establish them in the state of Ansapas, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. Da la dan varasibe da no parasibe ge tarba dan dam je jembe barda ju parasiba dam je je so mananga dan nyambe semje dam je dewa dan de dong hara dan jar nyor de lana me bayang da bar zo be san rambo je do bar zo. Dazandra achieving enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and the mind. We take refuge in the Khandaru Lama and the lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deity of the Mandalas or Yadams. We take refuge in the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the Bodhisattva's darkness and the Dhamma gardens, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Untried in the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the example of a Bodhisattva. As previous Buddhas embodied enlightenment and the progress on the Bodhisattva's path. I true for the benefit of all sentient beings giving birth to Bodhicitta and apply myself to complete the stage of the path. And the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge unto enlightenment reach by the merit of generosity and other good deeds. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be suffered from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. So we skipped the 7 lamp prayer. I have another teaching is coming today. Georgetown Universities. I had students coming here. 6:30, 7:30 they arrive here, I think. So from here, from maybe, yes. The ground is sprinkling with the scented water and strewed with the flowers. It is adorned with the meadow, the spirit mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon. As Buddha fell out for it, may all sentient beings attain the happiness as Buddha fares. To the Lama who possesses the three kayas, I offer altar in all the sacred offerings. With my body, where the order is visible, please grant me supreme realization enlightenment. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying for the sake of enlightenment of all sentient beings, all these are dedicated. Om Guru Rena Mandala Punzamanga Samanda Savarena Samaya Ahom. Equal refuge, enemy of the world, your fame provides the 3,000 words. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without drop. I bow at the feet of Father Jiti Songo, continue laughing when no one but you. Compassion, they won't grant your blessings. Despair, darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I can realize the unlimited nature of mind. Please turn the way of Dharma of the true vehicles and the combination according to disposition and likewise the mental capacity of sentient beings. His wisdom is brilliant like the sun, free of clouds of troubles, and perceive the various steps of knowledge in the true nature. For this reason, he holds the wisdom text at his heart, he has compassion. For all beings who suffer from the darkness of ignorance and the prison of samsara, as a father for only son. Like a thunderclap, he wakens those who are sleeping in ignorance and losing the chant of karma. Through the 60th branch of Araman's speech, He wears the wisdom silver to cut the settling of suffering to dispel the darkness of confusion. In the Bodhisattva form, he appeared from beginningless time, fully accomplished in the 10 levels and perfect in the body of our knowledge. As supplicated human gesture adorned by the 112 Son of Buddha to dispel darkness of ignorance. You who are the perfect, youthful body, whose flood of wisdom blesses, and the dispel darkness of worldly ignorance, are posted before you and pressed to Manjashire. Damge doje yaje reizan dong yenje mado deje bongjo baserje lambo tavare jibe shaje jabe jala sorwande doje janjen de lo naro dhamma pa malai jije gambo pamo te pa jarwan de gombe gaje lama nam lai sorwande rong jije yenje bodang Te som sang je gen je ngo wo nye rang sem je ge ngo song dong ze sa ve lam me ya la so wan de. Good evening, everyone. 37 practice of Bodhisattva. So we have 37 verses. Today we are, which verses we are?
I think we're 32, I believe, Kampo.
Okay. Very hard to remember because each other way is hard to remember. Okay. So we're going to like going to finish it today, the teaching. Verses 32. And then, yeah, we talked lots about verses 31. If you don't examine your own errors, you look like a practitioner, but not at one. So we have to analyze ourselves. Otherwise, we don't recognize what we're doing wrong things. So therefore, always examine your own errors. Read yourself over them. So we have to examine our own body, speech, mind. That helps, if you examine ourselves, it really helps recognize if we really know doing correct. So then we can change. If we don't examine ourselves, we don't recognize what we're doing, then we cannot change ourselves. So if we're doing something negatively, so that become habitual, as it goes strong and strong, then hard to stop after like you already habituate, then emotion negative already strong habituate, hard to stop that. That's why when any negative emotions, thoughts arise, you will recognize, then right away we apply antidote for the emotions and the thoughts. We can stop the negative emotion and the thoughts. So that's why we have to examine our own errors. Then also we recognize, our body, speech, mind doing virtuous deeds or not, and we also, other people, someone doing non-virtuous deeds, positively they create virtuous deeds. We recognize what others are doing too. Then someone doing wrong thing, we don't blame there because we recognize our own problem too. Something we realize ourselves problem. Sometimes we don't recognize what we're doing wrong, so we see the other people's doing wrong. It's easy. Usually we pointing other people's wrong, so no practitioners they're seeing our own errors, so then they're pointing ourselves, get rid of our own problems. They don't pointing for other people's wrong. other people's wrong, always pointing others with that someone don't recognize our own problem, then that is called ordinary beings. So Bodhisattvas recognize their own problem. I mean that they're doing something wrong. They recognize. They don't pointing others' problem. That's why we have to examine ourselves. Then verses 32. If through the influence of disturbing emotions, you point out the faults of another Bodhisattva, you yourself are diminished. So don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Uh, if not, examine ourselves, then uh, 30-second verses is, if we don't examine ourselves, the problem is if through the influence of disturbing emotions, so we have our own emotions, due to that, you point out the faults of another Bodhisattva, then we telling other Bodhisattvas problem is wrong. If we pointing others' problem, then they create negative karma. Because we point others wrong, they're going to pointing us again. Then pointing each other, so it's become create causes of suffering, harming each other. So that's why we have to examine ourselves, not pointing for others. If we pointing for others means like we have emotion. That's why we pointing for others. If we point for other people's problem, then become that is the point out the faults of another Bodhisattva. You yourself are diminished means like we lost our qualities. Decreasing wisdom, love, and our practice is going to decreasing. So don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Then point is don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicles. Don't pointing like we cannot do something and then someone can do better than us, but we pointing or they are wrong. So that's the example. Our practice is Hinayana. We only thinking about our own benefit and self-liberation. Someone doing for benefit others, then we pondering that person's problem. So that is become mistake and wrong. So that's why here, faults of those who have entered the great vehicle means someone benefit others. That person is a more higher level, great the vehicles, Mahayana practitioner. So if we are Hinayana practitioner, they're pointing Mahayana practitioners wrong, then that lose our qualities, diminish our enlightening qualities. So this is like sometimes we don't know due to our capacity. Someone doing better than us, more better than us, then we think that person's wrong. So actually that persons are not wrong because they can do more than us. They has more different view, understanding, and they can benefit more others. We don't have that kind of capacity and the level, but then we pointing that person's wrong, so that diminish ourselves, our qualities diminish. That's why they said don't point others because we don't know. Some other have more benefit others, then we don't know. We think that person's wrong, but actually, truly, ourselves is wrong, not they are wrong. So that's why don't point for others' problem. If we pointing others' problem, then we lose our qualities. Especially, don't pointing someone can do better than us because they have more capacity can have benefit for others. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So Bodhisattvas don't really pondering others' problem. If pondering others' problem means then due to the emotion, that's why we telling others' problem. Then verses 33, reward and respect causes us to quarrel and make hearing, thinking, and meditation decline. For this reason, give up attachment to the households of friends, relations, and benefactors. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Rewards and respect. So we attach to our reward and respect. Then that causes us to quarrel and make become lose our qualities. So that's why main point don't attach to our reward and respect something temporary benefit. So if we are attached to that reward and respect, that's us quarrel to make hearing, thinking, and meditation decline. All this dharma practice is going to decline if we are attached to this reward and respect. So when you get reward and respect from others, then also of course you have to recognize, meditate, not going to get pride, is recognized impermanent. So this reward and respect is not bad. You can use that, you can create more benefit for others. But some people get reward and respect, then they get more pride. So due to that, then you going to decrease in your enlightening qualities and or practice dharma qualities. They're going to decreasing because then no respect to sangha each other, no respect to teacher, no respect to dharma, and due to the ego, so become you get reward and respect. That also become causes of negativity. So if also we attach to reward and respect, that also become causes of suffering too, create our more ego and create more attachment and desire. Reward and respect is not bad. You can have that, but when you get that, no attachment and not get pride. If you get respect and reward, no pride, then not attached to that. Try to get reward and respect. So reward and respect. That's all is good if you do correctly, use correctly. Then you get more reward, respect. You people more believe, more trust. You can more benefit for others. So you have become more ability. You can benefit for others. That's why. So all this, samsaric reward, respect, all this kind of is dependent individual. Some get reward, respect, and then become take to the samsara again because that create causes of suffering. Someone get a reward and respect, so then that take to more. So that's why in samsara we whatever we get good conditions and then use that condition, try to benefit ourselves, more benefit for others. So that's the taking this worldly activity, samsara, or this reward, respect, whatever these things taking into the path. That is the more practitioner meditators do. If we don't take correctly, then making, hearing, thinking, meditation all decline. Our good quality is going to decreasing. So for this reason, give up attachment to the households of friends. So that's why we give up attachment to the households. It's also friend and a benefactor, like example, spiritual people attached to benefactors, and then uh, ordinary people was like lay people attached to the home, friend, families. So if you are stuck attachment that, and then you don't uh, get enlightening quality, cannot be increasing because due to attachment. So that's why for this reason give up attachment to the households of friends, relations, and the benefactor. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. Uh, this friend, the relations, the benefactors, no problem. But problem is attachment. As long as you attachment, then this is also, or this is become negative, causes of suffering. If you don't attach to that, then we need this. We need benefactors. We need a friend. We need it individually. Need like support of family, friend, and then spiritual beings need also benefactors. So spiritual benefactors, that's very important need. But someone really attached to that become, then that create a decreasing the enlightening qualities. This is teaching is come from Yarsingarcha told me. He is the yogi, practitioner, realizer, and he is give up all everything. He is like stay in the retreat mountains. So that's this kind he already have a give up. He already give up. That's why he recognize all the qualities how can create come from. He's seeing this is a problem. That's why he give up everything. So the most important is I just talked with you. If long as you are attached to that, this all problem. If long as you're not attached to this all is positive. It become. We need this. We use this. Then we can create more benefit for others. Without this, we cannot much benefit others too. But here is the point is not attached to this. If you are attached to this, then your quality is going to decreasing. So you are not attached to this object I mentioned about here, and everything actually, or so many things in samsara. If you not attached to that, then all these samsaric conditions, causes of condition, many things, you can use that, you create more benefit for others. So increasing your qualities. That's always depending up to individual us. Uh, Beginners, of course, this sometimes don't know how to use directly right direction, so there can be created causes of suffering. The people who practice this 37 Bodhisattva, and if it's someone who has a good, Dharma understanding, knowledge, practicing, then they use this energy object is taken to the path, create more benefit for others. So that's always a depending individual. Uh, we cannot say always negative, we cannot say positive, it's up to individual level. Then verses 34. Harsh words disturb the minds of others and cause deterioration is the Bodhisattva's conduct. Therefore, give harsh words which are unpleasant to others. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So this part is more kind of a summary, conclusion sections. So that's why actually already talked this part in the 37 practice like beginning. So especially practice love and compassion. That section we already talked these things. So now here is ready to conclusion. That's why also bring again similar subject. Harsh words so disturb minds of others. So we recognize, we know that if we saying some harsh words, then that really disturb other people's mind. So someone telling us harsh words, we recognize our own experience or that disturbing our mind. So same example, we saying some harsh words for others, then they also get disturbing their mind. So that is we really harming for others' mind. That's why we need mindful and what we talk. So no harming for others. Sometimes we don't mindful. You saying something, no mindful is it can be disturbing others' mind. Sometimes we don't recognize we're disturbing others' mind, but they're going on something. People disturbing others' mind. Uh, if you want to do that, you have intention to disturbing others' mind. That is very strong non-virtuous deeds. If you don't have intentionally want disturbing others' mind, saying bad words, you just no mind for, you don't really think, and just you saying something disturbing, hurt others people's mind, that less karma, but still is no virtuous deeds. That's why we have to care for when we say something and no disturbing others' mind of others and cause deterioration of Bodhisattva's conduct. So then if we disturb other people's mind, saying harsh words, so that then contradict our Bodhisattva's vow. So also then we lose our Bodhisattva's conduct. That's why when we say something, talk, and others, so we need mindful, not harming others, disturbing others' mind. Therefore, give up harsh words. That's the reason we have to give up harsh words. So saying pleasant words, which are unpleasant to others, this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. We give up unpleasant word for others, then that the Bodhisattvas does. Ordinary people saying words sometimes hurt other people's mind. Bodhisattvas, whatever saying, doing, they're not harming others' mind. So our body, speech, mind, no disturbing others' mind. So then that's the become we are practice Bodhisattva, practice of Bodhisattvas. So next verses is 35. Habitual disturbing emotions are hard to stop through contract actions. Armed with the antidote to guise our mindfulness and the mental alertness, destroy our disturbing emotions like attachment at once as soon as they arise. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So 35 is a conclusion also. Say habitual disturbing emotions. We talk already lots of the emotions. So especially anger, attachment, and ignorance. So that three poison. In this 37 practice, of course, practice is introduced to five afflictive emotions. So this five afflictive emotion, we have already created a strong habitual, very hard to stop. That's why habitual disturbing emotions are hard to stop, means like we already used to create very strong habitual emotions, hard to stop. Through contract actions, hard to find a solution, hard to find some, antidote for the emotions. Because this emotion habitual is so strong, our practice is not that much habitual, not strong enough, then our practice cannot antidote to these negative emotions. Why? Because so strong habituate already disturbing emotions are hard to, that's why stop. Then what we have to do? Through contraction, hard to stop, armed with draws the guides of mindfulness and the mental alertness. So we have to use our mindful mental alertness. Watch our mind, thoughts, and right away recognize emotion arise. Not let create a habit to disturbing emotion storm. So when emotion arise, right away recognize because you use mindful. And then also mental alertness. Use this tool and destroy. So what are we going to destroy? Disturbing emotions. Like attachment at once as soon as they arise. Attachment, anger, jealousy, pride, ignorance, this whatever this emotion is arise, and right away we have to stop. Use this mindful and alertness. Then if we can do that, then become we can say we are Bodhisattva, because right away we can stop negative emotions. Ordinary people don't recognize when these thoughts, emotion arise. They don't recognize. Then don't recognize what problem is habituating. This negative emotion habituate, becomes strong and strong. Then very hard to remove. If the emotions are so strong already, habituate, very hard, difficult to remove. And hard to find a solution. That's why this emotion arise, we right away have to recognize and have to apply antidote. So here talk about the mindfulness, mental alertness. It's both are very similar, but mental alertness is more sharper and little bit more tight than mindfulness. So mindfulness is a careful, recognize. Mental alertness is always watching ourselves. That's why mindfulness and mental alertness can, long as you have these two comes together, we can destroy disturbing emotions like attachment once as soon as they arise. So if we can, then we have become Bodhisattva. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Then verses 36. In belief, whatever you are doing, ask yourself. So whatever we're doing, we have to ask ourselves. Doing whatever we're doing, like through our body, speech, mind, we have to ask ourselves, what's the state of my mind? What is ask ourselves means like we have to check our intention. So which kind of intention we have? We have to check and analyze ourselves, examine ourselves. Sometimes we doing things like virtue, kind of like auto level virtuous deeds. I mean, we create and doing things, but the intention could be incorrect. So that's why this poem is not only auto, I seeing good way. So have to look to our mind is good or not. We can create something very beautifully auto object, nice, beautifully. But this examining is not auto phenomena create nice, beautifully. Have to create our mind is beautiful. Uh, Even like you do some generosity or and doing some ritual kind, some more spiritual way, doing ritual things. Then auto level, people think, oh, you are doing really great, you are practitioner, but could be in your mind is something different intention. So due to that, then the auto, like you doing beautiful nicely, that don't have any power. Even you doing like auto level beautifully, but inner is could be negative. So example is you giving things for someone and you have food, maybe already spoiled food. Food is already spoiled. So you want to give it to someone, it's like to them sick. And then you put really nice outside wrapped everything there, lots of like great food. When you're giving someone is a nice, small, and beautifully whatever you doing, auto level giving to that person, then your inner, your mind is not virtuous, not good intention. So that is no cannot be virtuous deeds. That is become non-virtuous deeds, and then that is 100% become non-virtuous because a really bad intention wanted to someone get sick. So maybe also your food is spoiled or maybe not really great. You don't want to eat yourself. You think, oh, I could be, I'm going to sick. Uh, then you think, okay, it's other people. It's okay. Give it to them. They are sick or not, it's okay. Doesn't matter. I don't care. So just give it to them. So that also comparing to you wanted to sick someone, but that you don't have that intention, but you don't care others. Just say, okay, give it to them. Then that also cannot be virtuous deeds too. So, or you have food, your food is okay, but you're intentionally giving someone, so someone sees you that you doing that, oh, that person going to reward, respect, like something, we already talked, like, oh, you doing great, you are generosity, you benefit these people, you are great person. So you are attached to that reward and respect. Then that generosity power also become decreasing. We cannot say that there's no virtue as it is. There has could be positive, but not much positive, less positive, because you are attached to reward and respect. We already talked about it. It's verses 33. So that's why in belief, whatever you are doing, ask yourself. So we have to ask ourselves, okay, what I'm doing this, those auto level, great Dharma practice, but in our mind is doing right or not. We have to check ourselves, doing ask ourselves. What's the state of my mind? So we can see low what kind of our intention we have. With constant mindfulness and mental alertness, accomplish others' good. So we use this mindful and mental alertness. Always examine our intention. So checking our intention is pure or not pure, good or not really bad, good. So if our intention is not pure, then maybe we stop the action or we change again intention. So you can chant the prayer. We already did this beginning, opening prayer. So that also helps again. We cannot do ourselves perfectly. This pure mind generate. Then chant the prayer. So prayer is come from this Bodhisattvas who already practice Bodhisattva accomplishment practitioners. This come from these prayers. So we chant that. That also helps. that prayer helps become our intention is incorrect, is going to pure intention, create. So that's why we always have this opening prayer. Because even you listening, teaching, or sharing Dharma, could be we don't have a good intention enough. So when I share teachings, or that is my duty, or my job to do, and then you're also listening, oh, just I want to hang out there, I'm going to learn something. We don't think about these teachings benefit for other beings. When you're also receiving, like, oh, I'm going to listen and teaching, benefit myself and benefit for others, maybe you don't have that kind of intention too. So that's why we have to chant the opening prayer. Opening prayer helps become this mindfulness and mental alertness, create our good intention. So then, long as we have good intention, accomplish others good. So then, accomplish others good. Of course, long as we accomplish others good, then naturally get benefit us. So Buddha is come from benefit others. Our sentient beings, samsaric beings, come from thinking about our own benefits. That's why, long as you have something thinking about benefit for others, so then use this method, practicing mentally awareness, accomplish others good. This is the then practice of Bodhisattva. So this is the last verses, 37. To remove the suffering of limitless beings, understanding the purity of the three spheres, dedicate virtue from making such effort to enlightenment. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. The last one is dedication. So now we're going to dedicate. This teaching, I think, goes like 2-3 months already, right? Maybe more than that, a long time we started this teaching. So now we're going to dedicate this all the what you beginning to hearing share the teaching, and all these virtues is we're going to dedicate for others. So to remove the suffering of limitless beings, this practice teachings remove the suffering limitless beings. Understanding the purity of three spheres. Dedicate the virtue from making such effort enlightenment. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So we can dedicate is a thing about. And this Bodhisattva, 37 practice of Bodhisattva is based on the Shantideva's teaching, way of Bodhisattva. So way of Bodhisattva is all the based on Buddha's sutra teachings. So now when Buddha shared these teachings, Dharma, so many people liberate, I think we can say liberate or free from samsara, to remove the suffering of limitless beings already. We're going to dedicate is not only just we starting this teaching to, when today going to finish here. We have to think more bigger the picture. So the Shantideva, Ngurchu told me he created this book, and then how many this book, follow this book, and that practice remove the suffering of limitless beings. Then this go more bigger. This book is based on way of Bodhisattva. So Shantideva created way of Bodhisattva. Until now, how many beings remove the suffering of limitless beings already? And then this Shantideva teaching is based on Buddha Shakyamunis, all the sutras teachings. So when Buddha shared the Dharma, until now, to remove the suffering of limitless beings. These all virtuous deeds we're going to dedicate together. Then understanding the purity of the three Crucifers. So when we dedicate, we have to understanding the purity of three Crucifers. Three Crucifers means at least we have to understand, impermanent. It's good is like we have understanding emptiness. That is the highest level. Then purity of three Crucifers means ourselves and this teaching and others object. So my case, like I'm sharing this teaching subject. I mean subject. My is a subject. I'm sharing this teaching. Action is this teaching. The object is you, and you. I'm sharing to you. You are the object. So my understanding is what I have to understanding is that myself is not attached to what I did. So recognize actually I myself is not truly exist. And it's empty actually, emptiness. Truly inherently not exist. Then this teaching, action also not truly exist. Sharing you also truly not exist. And then recognize that. So that's called understanding the purity of the three Crucifers. Not attached to myself, not attached to subject and this teaching actions, not attached to object. So free from three, this subject object actions. That's called three Crucifers. Then you also, when you study this teaching, 37 practice, Bodhisattva, so you also think yourself is truly no exist, recognize. And then this subject teaching also not truly exist. And then who hearing from teachers, so that's also not exist. And then recognize that. So point is, you don't have expectation. So main point is without expectation we have to dedicate. If these three spheres, three sphere, subject object actions is we think is exist, inherently exist, then we have expectation. I did this. What I did, I shared this teaching to you. So this I want to benefit myself is like I get some reward and respect. Example, okay, I share this teaching, or this going to say you did this great job when you share this teaching. So I have to respect that reward. Or this teaching I share you, the future I wanted to become a famous person or going to get something, expectation, something going in the mind, then the practice, dedication, the practice is going to decreasing. The power is decreasing. That's why then that power is limited actually, because due to this three kind of subject, object, action, expectations. That's why we recognize all is no exist emptiness, no expectations. What are sharing, teaching, then nothing is expectation, something. So sharing that way, that doing dedication for benefit for others, so that practices become unconditional, and no expectation. So then that power is never decreasing. Benefit is never decreasing. That benefit is never end. So limited, become limited. So if you have agenda and something yourself, and then expectation, so then that is become blocked. This virtuous deeds is blocked, and unlimited is limited become. So unconditional has become create a condition. So virtuous deeds benefit is never exhaust, it's become create exhaust. So that's why free from three spheres, we create unlimited this practice and unconditional and never exhaust. Even negative emotions cannot destroy. So that's the power we create through the dedication without these three spheres, understanding the purity of the three spheres. Dedicate the virtue from making such effort to enlightenment. So we dedicate is through making such effort to enlightenment. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Wishing all beings benefit and all beings become Buddha. So that's the way we chant this prayer and dedicate for others. For all who want to train on the Bodhisattva's path. So who wanted to get trained, practice Bodhisattva's path, I have writing this 37 practice of Bodhisattva. So this Nurja told me, he said he wrote this 37 practice of Buddha. Who wanted to follow, who wanted to practice Bodhisattva's path. So that's why he wrote this 37 practice of Bodhisattva. And the dedication part, we cannot dedicate ours, without our realization. So that's why we use these prayers. Who has realized, no expectation, who has realized emptiness. So use that kind of spiritual beings, aspiration, prayer, use for dedication. And that's why our prayer has Sonamde Tamje Zipanye is I can share that we have dedication. So it's come from Nagarjuna. After another prayers come from this Shanti Deva and the Chandrakirti, all these spiritual high realizers come from these prayers. So we using the prayer and dedicate these spirituals during the dedication. Same as the virtuous deeds dedicating for other beings. So long as we dedicate this, our virtuous deeds, they never extinguished, never exhaust. The non-virtuous deeds never ever can or remove virtuous deeds. So otherwise, we create non-virtuous deeds. It's also remove the virtuous deeds too. Same is we create virtuous deeds, remove the non-virtuous deeds. So non-virtuous deeds also remove virtuous deeds qualities. That's why we have to dedicate. Then Shanti, here is the Ngurche Thomi, he says, he wrote this, I have writing the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, following what has been said by the excellent ones on the meaning of the sutras, tandas, and the treatises. So he created these teachings from following what has been said by the excellent is Buddha. Once the meaning of sutra, tandas, treatises. So he come from these teachings, sutra, tantra teachings, based on Buddha's teaching. Though not particularly pleasing to scholars, owing to my poor intelligence and the lack of learning. So this he reduced his ego, and humbly he's sharing because he said, I don't have this big name, and he said he's not high level education. He just this teaching 37 is take from the Buddha's teaching, not particularly. So he didn't use this beautifully pleasing to scholars. So scholars make happy only because due to my poor intelligence and the lack of learning. So he said he are no scholar. When he wrote this, he don't have good, beautifully hearing some scholars happy to make these teachings. So he talking about he just saying he not high level scholar. He's saying he's no education person. He's no realization. So that's he reduce his ego. The different, ordinary people usually worldly. When the people say something is I know, I did perfect, never mistake. That is a great one. You cannot have any better than this any place. We share that way. That is just usually see some sort of worldly people talk. And the Dharma say I don't know. So I don't have this knowledge, and I don't know, but this all learned from Buddha is I copy from Buddha. So that's the sharing and the poor intelligent light of learning. I rely on the sutras and the words of the excellent. So I think this Bodhisattva practice are without error. He says I take this or teachings from the Buddha's teaching, so could be no mistakes. He's saying he didn't create anything. But he is a scholar, actually. You see, he wrote this is a poetry, though not particularly right, pleasing to scholars, but it's very poetically. Then it's pleasing to scholars and for everyone practitioners. That's what we know when we read this 37 practice. So he don't have ego. That's why this 37 practice benefit many beings, others. When he write this book, 37 practice, he say, oh, I did this job. It's the best one. Then could be this cannot benefit us, that much. But he didn't have ego. And that's why through that benefit others. However, as the great deeds of Bodhisattva are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence, I beg the excellent to forgive faults such as contradiction and non uh, contradiction and non-scriptures. Through the virtue from this may all living beings gain the atomic and conventional entrusted intention, and thereby become like the protector Chinrezig who dwell in the nether extreme, not in the world nor in place. So, and I beg the excellent to forgive for this. So he said he did a confession. If actually this all teachings come from Buddha's Sutra Tantras, but he due to his knowledge, if something wrong, confess. Bodhisattvas are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence. I beg the excellent to give forth such as contradictions and non-sequitur. Then through this virtue from this may all living beings gain the automatic and the conventional or tranced intention and thereby become like the protector Chinrezig. So it's a dedication again, who dwell in the nether extreme, not in the world, nor in peace. This was writing for his own and others' benefit by the monk Tommy on exponent of sculpture and reasoning in a cave in Ngurchirinchi. So he was in the cave, he wrote this 37 practice of Bodhisattvas. And we finish the whole 37 practice of Bodhisattva. Okay. So first we do dedication. Jenchang, Delopa, Naropa, Marpa, Malarepa, Dama Lord Gambopa, Pamotropa, Lord Digompa, please bestow upon us most auspicious blessing over all Kaju Lamas. By this virtue may I achieve omniscience, by defeating all enemies confusion. May all who travels on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. So this one is that prayers come from Nagarjuna. By this virtue, see, may achieve omniscience. And what we did this 37 practice Bodhisattva, this virtue may achieve omniscience by defeating all enemies, confusion. May all who traverse on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent precious mind, where is unborn may it arise, where is a born may it not decline, but even increase higher and higher. So it's a Shanti Deva prayer. I pray the Lama may have a good health. I pray the Lama may have a long life. I pray that your Dharma activity separate far and wide. I pray that I may not be separate from you. That's also kind of Shanti Deva's book. Then this is yes, Shanti Deva as Manjushri. The Vero realized automic state, and as did Samantha Bhatta, I will follow in the path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. So this one comes from is king of aspiration. We don't know the how to dedicate this free from three spheres. That's why we follow by as Manjushri, the Vero realized automic state, because Manjushri has realized automic state. Absolutely true. And as did Samantha Bhatta, I will follow in the path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attain the Tirikayas, by the blessing of the true unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the individual Sangha, order made merit I shall bear fruit. By this virtue collected in the three terms, by myself and all beings in Samsara and Nirvana, and by inner rule of virtue, may I in all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teaching of the great Dagompa Ranashiri, who is omniscient, Lord of Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, meditation unto the end of the samsara. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum Re. Okay, so now, do you have any questions? So, if you have questions, I have a couple of minutes. And
Kempo?
Hi, Kempo.
teaching,
Yeah.
not yet here.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go. Oh, I was going to say, or go ahead, Rodrigo. Can you speak more to your understanding of the three spheres and what that means to you?
Three spheres. Three sphere is the hardest subject. That's why we rely on Manjushri and Samantha Bhatta. So we ask them to help, how you dedicate. Please help my virtual. Same is you. And long as we don't have understanding emptiness, then hard to, understand three spheres. So three spheres means like subject, object are not the actions. Three of them is not exist. That's called three spheres. Yeah. Hi. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kempo.
Yeah.
I was going to ask something similar to what Tom brought up, which is like, how can we go deeper to understand this concept of not existing at the same time existing? And like when you're saying, I don't exist myself, you don't exist yourself, like these prayers don't exist. It's really hard for me to grasp that, to understand it.
That's why we have to rely on these prayers, dedication.
You don't have to understand, just
Yeah.
rely on it.
So that's why we have to rely on prayer. We have to study the wisdom, and then we know if we are exist or not. Wisdom chapter
Sorry,
is
Kempo.
called Way of
There's a
Bodhisattva.
kind of, there's some background noise. I couldn't understand very well. Can you say that again?
Oh, we have a lot of people here, so hard to hear you. Also, so no, maybe we talk next time.
Okay.
It's Georgetown students come here to, so I have to share them teaching. No, it's